This episode of Living in the 323 is brought to you by Phone Repair Center. Having issues with your technology and need repairs for your phones, tablets, computers, watches, and even gaming consoles, and also are in need of any phone accessories such as cases, screen protectors, chargers, and car phone mounts, check out Phone Repair Center today. You can check them out on Instagram at phone.repair.center or give them a call at 323-304-8037 or even visit them at the shop at 929 Northwestern Avenue, Unit 1.5, Los Angeles, California, 90029, Barton Plaza, 2nd floor, and tell them that NG on the mic sent you. Check out Phone Repair Center today. Enjoy the episode. It's a beautiful day for a podcast.
Yay. We stay lit here in the 323.
We always stay lit in the 323. What's up, Abby? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I missed you guys.
We missed you guys. I thought you said you were going to miss me. I was about to be like, oh.
I missed you too.
Oh, okay,
you got to live without me.
Oh, let's not talk about that because that night was a crazy night for me.
Yeah, I know. You called me drunk.
I did?
Yes, you FaceTime me drunk, bro.
What the?
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Wow.
I mean, we'll talk.
Wow.
We're gonna have to do a special episode for that. We're gonna have to do a special episode.
For
I don't know.
sure.
But anyways, folks, welcome back to a new episode of Living in the 323. I am your boy MG on the mic.
Hey, it's your girl Princess Abby. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you. Not enough for my drunk moments because that was a fun night, but the morning after was not the best.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I had the same type of weekend, bro. I was so drained.
Saw.
Shout out to Bonkers, man. He's doing big things.
I saw that you were kicking it with them. Nice.
Yeah. So, spoiler alert. He actually it was like a last minute thing.
Yeah.
He had me come out in his video.
Nice.
It was such a last minute thing. So I don't know when it's dropping, but I can't wait.
We can't wait either. But let's get into the show, shall we? Because we got a special episode today.
I'm so excited to introduce this amazing, lovely woman. We are in Women's Month still, so this was a person that I really wanted to interview to not only inspire and motivate, but really show you guys that this shit really can be done. You know what I mean? No matter what background you come from, no matter what part of, LA you're from, if you're in poverty or not, like she's gone through some real hardships. And this really inspired me because we come from very similar backgrounds. So this is why I really wanted her on, because she's just like me, trying to put other people on, which is why we have this platform, to put other people on.
Yes.
So I really am so excited, you guys, and I'm so thankful that you're here. I want to introduce Berenice Valle, owner of, hold up.
The crowd can't wait.
She is a business owner who is still working while pregnant. So shout out to you, girl. Thank you for being here for that. But she is the owner of From the Streets to the Sets, also known as URA, right? URA Casting. So she is working with actors and helping them get put on set.
Thank you. You get a double audience.
Yes.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you for having me here.
You're
Of
very
course.
welcome.
Well, thank you for being here. When she told me about you, I told her to send me, your videos, send me your Instagram page, and I checked it out. I was just like, I love what you're doing. I think it's really dope that you're trying to get people to become actors, to become bigger than what they are, and put them in films. We need people like that in this world.
Thank you. No, most definitely. I mean, I think I enjoy every part of giving opportunity more than anything, just showing people that there's a different way than what we've been told or what we're used to. So,
amen to that.
Yes.
Sis. Preach to the choir. Yeah, you and I have very similar backgrounds, and that's one thing that I want people to understand, that no matter where you're from, that does not determine your destiny. It does not determine where you're going. And so that's why you inspire me so much.
Oh, thank
Aw.
you. Thank you.
You're
That
very
means a lot.
welcome.
We should have
Thank
packed some.
you.
We should have packed some tissues just to
Some
just,
napkins over there. Just in case.
just in
Blame
case.
the hormones.
Just in case.
Blame the hormones.
Aw.
Well,
No, you're
thank
good.
you.
I wanted to say congratulations on your pregnancy.
Yeah,
When are you due?
congrats.
When are you due?
My official due date is 4/20, ironically.
Which is very soon.
I love it.
But you know, it is my third child, so most women know that it comes sometimes a little earlier. So
Yeah.
I'm in my last weeks.
You know
pretty
what?
much.
That's why I was like, we got to book her now, because
Yes.
you just never know. The doctors say one thing, but ultimately God has the last say, and the
Yes.
baby can come sooner. And that's why I was like, we got to get her in now.
Yeah,
Just
she
in
told me
case.
pregnancy. I'm like, is she even able to like? Is she cool with coming on?
Yeah, that's
All
why
right.
I
Well,
asked her.
well, that
I made sure I asked.
may I ask what is the gender?
I'm having a little girl.
Nice. So you
Yes.
have 3 girls or
No, I have an oldest son, my
Okay.
daughter, and now this one.
Aw.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh,
My second daughter.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We're happy for
Congrats.
you.
Thank you. A little
Yes.
nervous.
Another
but
blessing.
Yeah. Yes, for
Yes.
sure. For
That's
sure.
absolutely sure. All right, so let's get into this. What made you start, your company? Like, I know you told me that you provide opportunities, but why acting?
The industry just, I'll be honest, like fell into my lap. It wasn't something I said, I want to do or I seeked into doing or anything like that. For a long time, I was a certified substance abuse counselor and a gang interventionist, a case manager and an advocate inside of juvenile halls and
Oh my
some
goodness.
prisons.
You got her worked up now.
That's why I studied sociology, because I want to work in the halls.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
okay.
literally
so,
why.
Yeah. So I've taken psychology, sociology, like personal development, Chicano studies, like all these things to give back and like work with the community. And by working in the community, I met through a good friend of mine, a casting director, right? And we connected, and she was like, "Hey, like I'm casting for the show. I need some real guys, like not the fake background."
Yeah.
And I'm
The
like,
wannabe gangsters.
The wannabe-
yeah, because we do sure have a lot of that, but
Yeah. Too much.
No, we do. It's funny the fact that because I used to act as a teenager. I know people that act here and there, but when they say they want like real like actors in there, like they don't want just someone just pretending to act. They want someone that understands that character.
The
Right.
lifestyle
Yeah.
that comes
Right.
with it.
Yes.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's people out there that play the look and they could say they know, but to
Do they
me,
really
it's a little, I'm not even gonna say a little, it's a lot offensive,
I agree.
when they say,
I agree.
oh, this, that, and then they go out of their way to get tats and doing everything just for TV because, and the reason I take to offense, it's not because, I'm glorifying like a certain lifestyle, but the thing is that gang culture is a culture in itself.
It
So
is.
a lot of people who grew up in that generations and generations of it take it personal. This is your lifestyle. You have lost family members, homies, people you love behind those beliefs, and the dress, that. So when you have people that mock that or that go and, and put all this ink on and then they wear the clothes and then they say they're down for things, like you really don't,
don't
You don't
understand.
understand what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
really consists of.
So, a real person that's lived that, it's not only the look and, how down you've been down for the hood or whatever. It's more like everything you've had to endure, the pain, the trauma,
Yeah.
the constantly sleepless nights that, just
Yeah.
having to bury people that you love. And that's the sad part about that lifestyle. But unfortunately, a lot of our people come from that. So to make justice for those people and also for the many people who have lost years and will lose a whole lifetime behind prison because of these gang
tell me
acts
about
and
it, girl.
stuff like that, then it's only fair that we have real individuals who have lived that on set. Because
Yeah.
I see it over and over again, and now in times it makes me question, like, do they even want the real? Because I see a lot of the fake ones getting more glorified and more work and more
I've
stuff,
seen that.
you know?
I've seen it too.
I've seen it
And
so
like,
much.
I'm not gonna lie, it irritates me because, like you said, they don't understand the lifestyle. They haven't been through it, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, like I know the character." I'm like, "No, you don't.
Right.
No, you don't." Because if you would have understood what these people have to go through, these people have gone through so much shit when they were growing up. They've gone, probably going to jail, like, getting beat up, getting jumped, like just getting harassed by police, like
Getting shot at.
yeah, like these are
Like,
things.
these are real
like
issues.
Yeah, I myself,
that we gotta go
I
through.
don't, I know friends that are in gangs, and I've seen them go through so much shit, and I'm just like, I feel their pain because I'm just like, they're my friends, they're my brothers, they're my homies, and it's just like it's crazy to see that people think that they understand. I'm just like, you don't understand.
Girl, I got my brother doing 50 to life. So I understand what you mean by the gang culture. Like, I grew up in it. I was never involved, like, from a neighborhood, but it was the culture embedded in us. You know what I mean? Due to the district and the area that we were from. So I have a lot of homies doing major time, like 20 plus years.
Right.
And again, we've had to bury homies. Like, it's something that we, like you said, we have to endure the pain. Post-traumatic stress disorder is real. Like, I was busted in the halls, and that's one of the reasons why I want to work in the halls and help the youth, because you study sociology, so recidivism. Recidivism rate is super high. It's over 50%. It's about 60%, over 60. So the fact that, we have to see this repetitive cycle and mass incarceration, which is a big thing hitting our culture, not only the brown community, but the black community.
Right.
These gun enhancements that are getting put, gang enhancements, they're doing more time than they deserve.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean to say deserve, because like, again, it's something that we've had to go through and we've learned. And sometimes it's not optional. It's like, hey, bro, you either are a part of this hood or you're a part of that hood. Like, pick and choose which one. But you really don't got an option. Yeah, it's survival mode.
Right.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
It's survival mode. So I truly admire you for helping them get out of that situation, because one thing that I've learned is you can never really get away from the hood. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, again, it's a culture that is embedded in us at that point. And so you're never really out of it, but there are different routes that you can take so you won't stay stuck. You know what I mean? That's always going to be your family at the end of the day. Like, it's still a family. That's your neighborhood that you grew up in. Those are your friends since childhood.
Right.
Like, that's not your homie no more. Like, you've known each other since you're 2-3 years old, since a baby, since birth. And so I truly am an advocate for prison reform and for people becoming entrepreneurs. That's really been like my stance on it. Like, I really want people to succeed no matter where you're from. So
Of course. I mean, I think that if one wins, we all win,
Yes,
and,
well said.
And until we start seeing that in that perspective, then we're not going to get far, because unfortunately, not only in the Latino community, but like I've talked to some brothers and sisters, and they say that within there's also that, crab syndrome. Like, you try and climb out the bucket and you always have one of your own trying to pull you back in,
Yes.
But I think a lot of it is that we think there's not enough out there for each and every one of us, when there is. What my mom used to say, lo que es para ti es para ti, and nobody can take it, and you have a skill, you have a talent. If you have, your life is only yours, so your testimony could only serve or damage. That's it, right? So it's how you use it. So if you're going to put in a platform or use it to use in good way, then you'll get good. If you put into bad way, then you'll get bad. Like, you get what you put in, So a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to, give my resource or like hook this person up or whatever. And then we hold each other back. But you see so many people in other cultures, and then they're rising, they shop within their own, they do business within their own. They do, and it's like, why can't we do that?
I said the same thing.
And it's like segregation, like even within our own, right? Like I say, when all these, last year, when all this, like the rioting and all that stuff happened, and it used to irritate me being on social media and seeing our own saying like, why didn't they do that when they took our kids into cages? Or why didn't they do, well, what did you do? Like, you know,
it's
I agree.
You know, we're
I
always
totally get what you're
questioning the next person. And I mean, at least me, the definition of leadership at one point is sometimes you got to walk alone in some paths. Like you can't wait for the whole crowd to follow. And
you got to lead the path.
Yeah, and you just got to go for what you believe. And another problem is like, if it's a problem that affects Mexicanos, then let's say the Salvadorians and the Hondurans don't want to jump in. If it's something that affects the Hondurans, then the Mexicanos and the Salvadorians don't want. You know,
Girl,
what I mean? It's like
I'm half Mexican and Salvadorian. I know
too.
exactly what you're saying. Oh no way!
I'm full, but
Oh shit! I think we family, bro.
My dad's Salvadorian. My mom was Mexican.
Nice. No way, mine
too. So I get that a lot. Like, you know, it's like, oh,
it's such a hard battle. Just I just want to elaborate on that. It's such a hard battle just being half and half alone because we have so much division within our own culture, like she said. Yeah. Like I always, growing up, I always heard that like the Mexican side talking shit about the Salvi side and vice versa. And it's like, bro, like I didn't choose to be who the fuck I am. Right. Yeah. Like I didn't choose this bloodline. It just happened to land on my lap. You know what I mean? It just happened.
I mean, the way I answered is like, I got the best of both worlds. So I mean,
real shit. We have the best food on both sides.
Well, yeah, I will agree. I will agree to that. Well, I'm full Salvi, so I'm just like, I mean, I grew up with pupusas and all that, but it's like a lot of my friends are Mexicans. A lot of my friends are Honduran. They come from Central America, so I get along with everybody.
Right.
Like,
I mean, as we should. As we should. There shouldn't be so much division.
Yeah, and one of the things, and I've come to see this growing up, was one of the reasons why Salvis and Mexicans never got along back then was because of soccer. I don't know if okay.
Which is also a problem.
People
like
take it serious. People take it very serious.
Too personal.
But I think it goes like way back into like in our indigenous cultures, right? Like always thinking that the Aztecs were more superior than the Mayans and like stuff like that. Because I like to
you study Chicano studies.
So I do a lot of that. I do have a mentor in the indigenous culture, and she's Yaqui and she speaks the Nahua, and
I love that.
To me, I'm like, I'm a big supporter of like knowing your background, your past, to know where your future is, right? Like when people say, oh, I want to travel to like Paris, and then I'm just like, send me to like the Yucatan like pyramids, or send me to like the momias of Guanajuato.
Real because that's where my mom's from, Guanajuato.
My mom was from Jalisco, but so to me it's like I want to know where I come from, so then I could teach my kids like where we're going, because I can't speak up on something and not know shit of like anything, you know. And
it's crazy. You brought up something, and this is like, because I've gone to El Salvador so many times. I haven't been back in nearly 20 years. It's been a while.
I've never been.
I gotta take you. I gotta take you. They say Salvi.
Have you been?
I have been.
You have?
When was the last time you went?
Oh, years. My dad now, he's like terrified. He's like, oh, tú no vas porque estás toda rayada.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
when I went in 2004, I mean, I went with my parents, and I have family out there, but I feel like in the late 2000s, it became more of like the dangerous country that people say it is. But I think it's just all territorial out there. Like you go somewhere and they're gonna like be like, oh, like they're gonna instantly know you're not from
of course
this place.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like the reputation that they've given through the media more than anything too. Like coming from
and media does play a big role on how, like, the perception of people, what they see and what they hear. Yeah, because they can say all the negative stuff, like all the violence and that.
I mean, we have dangerous spots in LA, and people still want to come and
tour
it around, you know. So it's like just where you go.
Like, and then just Skid Row alone, a lot of people want to go to downtown Staples Center, and then you got Skid Row like literally down the street, and it's not even Skid Row no more. It's like the whole neighborhood.
It's entire like pretty much downtown.
It's really
it's its own community.
It is.
It's like 56 blocks perimeter of.
It's gone crazy. It's gone crazy.
It's ridiculous now. It's so big.
Yeah, I drove out there.
I wanted to also say, because you know how you're talking about like knowing the background, right? The history. I think another reason why El Salvador is so dangerous, quote unquote, the way they make it seem, is because of the war that happened. You know, their mentality is, you know, a lot of these people are still alive who had to go through that war. So PTSD, again, is real, like I said earlier. And the mentality that they were embedded with is kill or be killed, you know? So that's where that whole territorial thing comes in. You know, because they literally had to kill their own, and it was forcefully done. It wasn't like, hey, I don't want to do it. It's like, no, if you're a kid, if you're a guy, you better go do it. You know what I mean? Like, they kidnapped you to do this stuff. Oh yeah. So it's very extreme, you know?
The entire system is just a whole, it's so much different than here. We all know that.
And I think that goes alongside, like, to getting to, if the ones who still have the blessing of having your parents involved, and if they ever grew up in El Salvador or came from there, like sitting there and having dialogue with them. Because, like, I sat with my dad, and for many years I figured, like, why is, like, violence your first to go to, or why are you not affectionate, or why like do you disconnect a lot, right? And like finally I had a dialogue with him, and it was like, you know, he saw his first body at the age of 8 years old, like
my dad too,
you know, and like having to survive that. And so now when he comes to the streets of LA, right, and like gets involved with certain community, it's like you do what you got to do. And so therefore he raised us to be strong, like, you know, just not showing weakness, and like just at a very young age, you know, of course, as a daughter, you want to have that affection by your dad, but then it's kind of like you're roughing up, you know, you're like, no, like, don't care for that, or like, you'll get over it, you know. And then like the solution to everything that he had to say was like, oh, pues, you know, like, tal vez verga, or like, well, you know, and I'm just like, great, you know. So, you know, it's just like, not like how you said, you know, like, kill or be killed. And it's a sad, like, reality, but that's why we have a lot of our parents that don't connect with us on an emotional tip, because of things that they've had to witness. Not because they don't want to, not because they don't love you. They don't know how.
It's tough for them to like fully express themselves on certain parts,
or even talk about certain things, because certain things you're trained not to speak about, you know. And our culture, definitely, like, just trauma, things you've been through, like, you see, you hear, and you don't say nothing.
It's
you know,
taboo.
you deal with it, right?
It's taboo.
So
my dad is exactly the way you just described, you know, how Salvadorians, he's not just Salvadorians, it's different cultures. My dad was exactly the way he is. It's like when my grandmother died, he didn't want to talk about it. Like he couldn't talk about it. That was the hardest thing for me, like trying to get it out of him. I was like, how are you feeling? He wouldn't want to talk to me about it. Right. And it's sad because I'm just like, dude, I'm asking you how are you feeling? Like, I want to know, because as your son, I feel like
you're worried.
Yeah, I'm entitled to be worried with him. Right. Like, I want him to be okay. But the only time I've actually seen him cry was with talking to my grandmother. Like, one tear popped out, and I'm like, oh, hello. My dad has feelings.
Yeah. He's an emotional human being. Yeah. I mean, I think our parents do cry, but not in front of us. You know, they don't show us that weakness. You know, like, I remember when my parents split up, that was when I saw my mom at her weakest point. And ever since, like, it's very rare to see my mother cry, because she's been that strong backbone, you know, as a single mom. And so, you know, I've seen her have her moments of weakness, and it sucks, because a lot of that came from my brother and I just being like rebellious children, you know, at that young age. So we put more stress on her than she, you know, could have ever imagined, you know. So, but again, like, I think the Salvadoran culture in particular, because of that war that they saw, that's why they're stronger and more like tougher. Because just comparing apples and oranges, right? Like, my mom and my dad. Growing up, my dad was like your father, like, you got to toughen up. And my mom would be like, you know, déjala, you know, like, he would try to like punk me. And my dad like did that with a purpose. My mom would be like, yeah, déjala, you know, like, you're making her cry. He's like, no, she's a woman. She needs to toughen up, because you don't know what they can do to her as she gets older. Right. And I was like, what the hell? Like, my dad said that, but you know, like, now that I'm older, I think about it and I'm like, damn, that's true.
You have a better understanding of what that meant than before.
Yeah, because as a woman, and I'm sure you know, like, I think all of us women have gone through this at some point, like, you can walk into a place and you can be scared for your life because you're a woman, and you know, a man has more power than a female, physically, you know. Sadly, it's sad, but most of us women, we go through this and we don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Like how we said, it's taboo. You don't want to say nothing because nobody needs to know. But you know, and that's one of the reasons why my dad like tried to toughen me up at such a young age. you know, because again, we don't want to talk about these things,
Right.
you know?
No, for sure.
But it happens.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I grew up in a household with nothing but brothers. And so at a young age, I was taught, like, don't cry, fight.
Yeah.
You know? And,
Yeah.
and at many moments, I sat there and I'm just like, does my mom have, like, particular vendetta against me because everything I do, it feels like it's not good enough, or she pushes me more. Like in my household, after my parents split up, my mom was like the tough one, you know. My dad was more like toughen up, don't show affection, but he wasn't the type to like emotionally connect, period, you know. Like, I'm there, I provide, and that should be good enough, you know. With my mom, it was more like you need to learn how to change a tire, oil change, this is how you communicate, this is how you budget, this. And I'm just like, okay, fine, this is how you iron, cook, you know. And she did that across the board, even with my brothers, because she used to say guys need to learn the same thing a woman needs to learn, because one day you get married and te toca una huevona, at least you know how to do
My mom
stuff,
did the
you know?
same for my brother.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% on that. I think guys need to fully understand what women, you know, are doing, and they need to see it on their side, because women, to me, I think women are, you know, so powerful in so many ways. I think they're stronger than guys, and I'm saying this with, you know, with respect to women and guys, because guys and women go through different things, and this is not just like emotionally and like it's physically, and when I say physically, it's like, you know, with body wise and stuff, you know, in the real world out there, like there's differences and there's similarities. So to me, it's like my mom taught me how to be strong, my dad taught me how to be strong, but at the same time, you know, something that I fully understood when I became a teenager was how to be vulnerable. And that's something that I was like, why are they telling me it's okay to cry? Why is it okay to be sad? And I came to realize, I'm like, because at the end of the day, we need to like express that. We need to learn how to let go of that emotion in order to become stronger.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think the media also tells you, since you're, you know, at such a young age, that boys shouldn't cry. And us women as children, right, as young girls, like, we're meant to be the lovers. We're meant to be the
caretakers.
Yeah, the caretakers, exactly. Take care of the household, cook and clean. Like, you know, I studied this in sociology when I was in college, and I remember like my professor really had us think. She's like, what do you think you buy toys at a young age for boys? You know, it's nothing but wrestling stuff, football, like
action figures,
action figures, race cars, like all this like macho stuff, right? And then for little girls, what do you buy them? A dollhouse. What do you do? They cook.
Stroller,
a little stove, a baby. You show them how to feed a baby. Like, this is embedded in us. So when now you have adults, and then you wonder why men don't know how to express themselves and communicate, it's because they've been taught to hold it all in. And then us women, we're over here thinking, oh, we're gonna have a Cinderella story, we're gonna have a beautiful fairy tale wedding, you know, this, look at all these Disney movies and what they portray.
Right. They
you
need
know,
a man to survive at the end.
Yes.
Know? It's like,
There's a whole
gender
all these
roles.
Disney movies are so different now compared to the 90s, to the 80s.
Well, our era was very
Yeah,
different. I don't
it
even know
was.
what's out there no more. I don't have children,
Yeah.
so I don't watch
it-
them.
I
But
mean-
and I'm gonna have to learn again.
that you can put us up on game.
Yes.
Sure.
All right. We're going to jump into the conversation about the work that you do with your community and the people that you work around. We're going to take a quick break. Folks,
For sure.
we'll be right back.
Hey guys, this is Berenice Valle from URA Casting, also known from the streets to the set. You're watching Living in the 323 with MG on the mic and Princess Abby. And for more information on what we're doing, check us out on Instagram and Facebook, From the Streets to the Set. And our website should be up and coming, so be on the lookout for that. Now, back to the show.
And we're back. Welcome back to Living in the 323, folks. All right. Berenice.
Yes.
So you say you're working with people to get them on films, right? Do you do anything else besides filming, like just movies?
Yeah, everything in the industry, from music videos, short films, to some reality shows, to photography, to independent films, skits.
You're all over the
You're
map.
all over it.
Everything, yeah.
So my next question is, what kind of videos or movies or music videos have you been involved in, like, that you've worked on?
We're regulars on the show SWAT. So
Nice.
I do a
That's a
lot
good show.
of their
That's a good show.
consulting, their background casting. I've been involved in the movie Peppermint with Jennifer Gardner.
That's such a good movie. I was watching it. I was watching it the other day. I cannot believe. What's her face? Is it Jennifer Gardner?
Yes.
I've never seen her act like that before. Like I've seen
I
her
have
like.
to see this movie.
I believe it's on Netflix.
Yes.
I've heard of it.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that movie. I was like, what in the hell did I just watch?
I've had
That's
some of my
dope.
guys on Snowfall.
Nice.
I've had some of my guys on Mayans.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
Who have you had on Mayans? Because that's my number one show right now.
Oh yeah. So mostly of the background, like I know what personally I know Richard Cabral, Joseph Lucero, and then now with this season that came out, Wilson Ramirez was on it, so
Okay.
he's gonna be on there. But some of my guys like George, I call him Bouncer, but these guys were on there. They're all. George actually also came out in the El Chivo music video with Burner.
Okay.
And he's one of the like the extras. So it's a lot of like the background work, but that's what makes what
Have you
makes.
worked with Emilio Rivera?
I have not worked with him. I have met him. I have heard him speak. He came out to a homie to homie event and spoke to a lot of the crowd there, talking about his career, how he started,
That's
his
really
upbringing.
dope. I like that he
So-
does that too. He
I've-
definitely motivates the youth.
And he's one that he's very intimidating. He looks like scary.
You think so?
And, let me tell you a quick story.
I mean,
Let
it's
me-
probably because I grew up in the hood, so I don't see it like
well,
that.
if you watch Sons of Anarchy, he has that face like the if you come close to me, like I'll get you. But I was in Disneyland. I was in Disneyland just walking, and I saw people crowded up. I'm like, oh, they're probably crowded out for Mickey Mouse. And then I look at him, and I was like, oh shit, that's Emilio Rivera. So I approached him. And he's like, "What's up, man? Like, how you doing?" I'm like, "Dude, let me just tell you right now. I'm a huge fan of yours on Sons of Anarchy, and the fact that you continued on Mayans is perfect." So he's like, "Oh, I appreciate it, man. You want to take a picture?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, you were being a fan.
He's a good guy. Like, they're-
he's super
No,
dope.
I mean, he's humble. I've never experienced. Honestly, I'm gonna say I've been blessed with the people who have a weight on their name or whatever. You know, like never been assholes or like like
Yeah.
I think they've remained humble and just I mean, like I said, I've never been on set with him particularly, but outside of set we've got to say a few words and stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, I mean, I think the whole cast, like just meeting a lot of them, like JD, Clayton, they're very like down to earth.
they seem like they're down to earth.
Yeah, we were just at an event, but I'm gonna say last week or 2 weeks ago at like a tattoo shop opening.
Oh, I did see that on your gram.
And yeah, and I was we had conversation with Vincent, right, Rocco from the Mayans, and
Yes,
he
yes.
was just like down to earth, talking to his dad and sharing like views of the industry, and he was open to coming down because I have a team meeting like once a month, and he's like, yeah, I'll come down and talk to your guys and share.
That's so
With
dope.
Mayans, you never seen the show, right?
I've seen it, but it's not like I've been. I don't really watch TV.
Yeah. With Mayans, how did your actors come to portray being from motorcycle clubs? Because I know that there's a whole different. They get insulted when they say motorcycle gang.
Okay.
Yeah, they get very insulted with that. How did they learn to adapt to the whole motorcycle club culture?
Well, I mean, some of the guys that were on there actually ride as
Okay.
well, but they never portrayed like, oh, I'm from a biker, like, club or anything like that. Like I said, some of these guys were extras, so they just prior to Mines, like some of them had already worked with like Wilson, some already met Richard Cabral, so it was just kind of like being on set, hanging out, like, you know, and just, but never taking from the light of the biker culture, you know? So it wasn't like they were trying to portray like, oh, you know, I went from a gang member to a biker. Like, no, you know, it was just extra work, doing what they were told. And some of them, like I said, like they ride out here, they don't belong from a club, but they just know how to stay in their lane, like not portray something that they're not, right? So I know some of the cast, like themselves, went from, you know, having a history in the gang culture to now being on my ends, and that's something they probably would be the only ones to answer, like how they got into that character. But yeah, I mean, it's a different world, most definitely. Like, just not to put in one same category, because they're both different. They both operate different. So
Nice.
I can't really, like, me myself, I can't speak on the biker world, because then I'd be a hypocrite, because I don't know what that means.
Absolutely
Right.
understand that.
But I've met some pretty solid bikers, biker chicks, you know, and biker clubs, and man, like, they're human, you know, they got good hearts, and again, it's just the perception and how you decide to view them, you know. So that's pretty much.
I think a lot of us, the way society has kind of like structured us to be is we all want to belong to something. You know, everybody's in different fields for a reason, and with us being from the streets, that was like an immediate thing that you can join, you know, whether it's a biker club, I don't want to say gang, biker club, or an actual gang, you know, or, you know, like some are in sports, some are cheerleaders, like everybody has their go-to, you know. So I feel like we all want to adapt to something at one point, you know.
I mean, I think it's just in human nature having to feel accepted or validated one way or another, right? Like when you hit middle school, that's where you feel like you're
that's like a turning point.
That's like identity.
That's a turning point.
It is a turning point.
And who am I? What am I? Where do I fit in? Where I don't? Like, you know, so you just fall into the crowd that accepts you, that embraces you.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you, being that, you know, you've been involved in so many movies and all of that, how, or just in the industry in general, how did you officially like brand yourself? What was like that turning point? So you started involving yourself by helping other people come on, but when was that like point where you said, okay, now I have to make this a brand, now I'm like doing this and I got to get paid for this? Like what was that turning point for you?
So I've been doing this since 2017, so I'm gonna say that still a year or two in, I wasn't branded still. Like I was still like, I could do this on the side and then still do community work and still, but then the place I was working for, they, even though they claimed to be like community activists and they wanted to give guys and girls like jobs and get them out of the hood and all this like good talk, when the time came and I had to be going on set with these guys, because how it happened was, you know, this person was like, I have this work, but can you come on, you know? And sure, you give a person a title, but in like, not to say, oh, I need you to come and babysit because we don't want to be liable, you know, kind of stuff. So it was like, okay, I get it. Like, I mean, these are real dudes. They're from different neighborhoods. So I get why you want somebody they trust or could talk to them a certain way on these sets, right? So I started going. So it became a problem for my original employer, like where it was like, you're missing too much. And it's like, yeah, but I'm doing it for the clients, or I'm doing it for the better good. It's not like, oh, I'm missing work because, you know, whatever. And unfortunately, when there's money involved, like grants and stuff like that, they care more about the notes than some of the changes. So at that point, I was being defiant, and I've always had a mouth on me. Like that's one thing I always have. Like, you know, I'm gonna express what I feel, and especially being a part of the community that I was servicing. You're not gonna come and tell me what my people need when I know what I needed at that age. You know, so therefore I'm trying to provide that. And if you can't be supportive because you're worried if I'm doing my notes or not, so you could bill somebody, maybe it's not where I need to be, you know? So at that point I quit. I gave up like my benefits and my hourly and whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, there's no shame in me saying like I jumped on public assistance, and I was like, man, like until I'm able to like know where I stand in this industry, like I need to survive. I need to eat too, you know?
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I started just kept doing the work, and finally that same casting lady was like, why are we not paying you? Or like, why are we not paying you enough? Or like, you know, and I'm just like, I don't know, but I mean, you're paying the guys and you're keeping them out of trouble and you're keeping them out of the street and you're giving them work. Like, man, like I love it. You know, I love being on set. And then finally it was like, okay, well, what do you want to call yourself? You know? And then I'm like, you know, and I started thinking, and then like, so from the streets to the same, from the streets to the set came out. And then later, about a year and a half ago, it was like, okay, so do you want to do background forever, or do you want to start pushing these guys to take lead roles and like really invest in something, right, in themselves if they really like acting?
Yeah.
So then it was like, no, yeah, we want to do that. So then with Richard's help and sponsorship, we put 13 people through the Anthony Gilardi studio, and we raised enough money for them to continue after the 13 weeks. And then some of them have landed lead roles. Some of them are already doing like features. Some of them are being booked. So then we're like, okay,
dope.
we can't.
It is dope.
So background guys would be like from the streets to the set, right? A component. And then now let's branch out and like do management, which would be like through the URA casting. We're still casting overall, but there's a management component now where things start to get a little more serious. Like for the guys that are really taking acting seriously, going into school, taking mentorship, doing homework, like getting into character, doing research, going into auditions, booking these roles. And then now me having to not only be like, oh, like B's cool and she's like the homegirl, but then she's looking out. But now it's like putting my foot down and saying, okay, now you booked this, so now I'm invoicing your manager's fee, you know? And like, now this is where. So I think we've all grown from taking it as a hobby, like, oh, it's cool to be on set once in a while, to now, okay, we have our department where we have casting, and people hit us up all the time. And it's unfortunate that we can't have work every day for everyone that's interested, because we do have a lot of like homies and brothers and sisters that want the opportunity. But it's like we have this waiting list and we have this roster. And then when things come up, it's like I send like massive like pictures and emails, then whatever fits the project, you know, and that's who I call. And then there's some who have inquired and then go on set right away. And then some that inquired and waited 6 months to a year to even like hear back from me. And it's frustrating, but that's the line of work we're in, you know, that's how it is. And then now with the management component, it's like, okay, now getting these guys on self-tapes and like having them submit on time and deadlines, and like, you know, coming from the backgrounds that we come, you know, it's like just being social overall or putting yourself on camera sometimes is a just challenge.
Yeah.
So
it really is. I didn't want to be on video at first, and I was like, you know what, we have to.
So like having them being coached and just through the whole process, like it's been a journey. So, you know, there was a point where I wasn't profiting, you know, at all. It was just like through shout out, and I wanted people to know that we existed and that these guys were willing.
We pay for this. We need sponsors.
We need sponsors.
We need sponsors, guys.
soon, you know.
We're working our way up there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it was just like staying consistent. I think that anything you stay consistent in and you believe in the passion that you have, like it's what's going to open your doors. And I think the work showed more than what I would speak about, you know, because you could talk a good one. I mean, there's people like out there that have like massive following, you know, but ain't doing shit for the community. Like that's just in my perspective. And to me, I don't go based on like my followers or like how many likes a picture gets or how many comments, because to me that's fucking irrelevant. You know, at the end of the day, it's like this. Like if I have 100K followers, but the same 20 people show up to my events to support it, like, then all that crap, I just have an audience. I'm an entertainer. That's all it is, you know?
Very
so
true.
to me, the impact that I take isn't based or measured on a social media platform, is the lives I touch on a personal level. And then I have people are like, hey, like, you know what, thanks to you, like, I met this homie that I probably would have shot like on the street, and like now he became like a brother, and I call on him like when I feel some shit, or like I'm going through something. Or
You bring people together.
Yeah, like, and
glue.
I think it's like, that's my biggest reward. Like, I feel that a lot of us, even though we had families and they might have been broken families, we've created a family and a bond within the team, you know? So
Yes.
I think that's another form of feeling that you belong,
Yes.
you know, like feeling that you belong in a circle that accepts you for who you are, your background, like where you come from, don't matter what area, what neighborhood, whatever, but we see you for who you are, you know, and you could be yourself.
I love
And
that.
Same here.
and then it's like man, like, we embrace the past, the trauma, the all that stuff, and it's like, all right, we don't gotta walk like that no more, you know? It's kind of like, I could live in the ghetto, but I ain't gotta be ghetto, you know what I'm saying? Or I could live in the hood, but I ain't gotta stay in that hood mentality my whole life. So it's really, you know, ironically, I still live in the neighborhood that I did damage in, you know?
Yeah.
And the reason I did that on purpose. Many people would say, man, you gotta relocate, like, you gotta move, because, you know, now at that time my son was involved. I was getting calls, cops, like, you know, all this shit, and it was like, man, you need, because you gonna lose your kid. And then my mentality has been this, and because I've also been in the substance abuse field, right, as a counselor, and I've gone to like conventions and NA and AA, and I hear how they speak, and it's like, that geographical move isn't always the solution, because you take you wherever you go. So guess what? I could move, I could relocate, but if myself or my son or anybody want to come back and do damage, we're gonna find a way. So
It's
why
true.
am I going to disturb my entire way of living, or where I have something stable, and run from it? It's like, change starts within the person first and foremost. So that's why
Yes.
when we used to go and speak into juvenile halls and prison, like, homies used to say, oh yeah, when I come home, I'm gonna do like, why you gotta wait till you come home? Like, you got the resources
Yes.
here. You might not have the programs, because there's like a long waiting list, and like all these people and teachers that bullshit, like, I'll be real, but you start healing and you start knowing yourself from within. You don't have to wait like, oh, let me go outside and let me wait till free time or until I'm free to know more about me. Like, what got you there? Why did you make the decisions that landed you there?
Yeah.
Where does this pain come from? Because it's pain. All that anger that our
Self-reflection.
teenagers
Yes.
and shit have, it stems from pain. Like, that's
It
the
is the root of the
underneath root of
problem.
it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, where is that coming from? Because if you don't tackle that, wherever I go, I'm gonna hurt somebody. It's like that saying, hurt people, and broken people attract broken people.
Very
so
true.
it's just like, if I don't heal within me, I'm only gonna, anything I touch, I'm gonna hurt, you know? So it's like, I remained in that place, and I still do. And through the trials and tribulations, I have, you know, like, met good people, homies from the areas that surround me. Some have joined the team. Some break bread with each other. Like, yesterday I had a barbecue, and right now there's another one going on in my house without me being there, you know? But it's like, hey, like, that's, you know, if I provide that safe net, or that like, oh, okay, cool, like, I could go and like get away and just feel cool where I'm at.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. Like, that's what we need more of, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's what, like, my biggest reward when it came down into this industry. And that's when I said, I can't let this go. Like, and there's going to be more to it, because it was from background casting to management to now we're having dialogue of like creating our own content. Like, we could become our writers, our producers, our directors.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, everybody that keeps buying our stories and everything are infatuated with our lifestyle, are infatuated with our
Real
stories.
shit.
Yeah.
But
We're not the
then they
creators, we're not the owners.
Right. They fail to like put us in these roles. So if we want that to change, if we're tired of seeing the fake or the that's not even how it goes type crap, you know, then we need to start creating, you know,
Exactly.
and so like putting our stories out there and then casting them themselves and like filming them themselves and like us doing sound, camera, whatever. It's all a learning experience until you
they're gonna grow from doing this,
right?
And like Nipsey said, cut out the middleman.
Yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
Pretty much, yeah.
You weren't wrong when you said you're a motivational speaker, because what you just said right now, it says a lot about your character and what you're striving to do. When it comes to this company, what is one thing that you're focusing for the future?
I think of just having it run in different compartments, right? So, you know, like shout out to like a lot of the nonprofits that are doing like gang intervention work, right? Like Homeboy Industries, like Homies.
I was about to say, you remind me of Homeboy Industry.
Homeboy Industry. I was gonna ask if you were affiliated or associated with them.
I used to be a case manager at Homeboy Industries.
Oh, nice.
Years ago. That's where like my first interaction with like gang intervention came about and stuff. So I mean, that they've embraced like a home to me. I've met good people through there. I'm still in touch with good people. They've helped a lot of my family members as well. Father Greg's been like my daughter's like grandpa. She calls him grandpa, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's so cute.
Yeah. So it's, it's been home, you know, but like what they do is great and everything. On our side, what we're trying to do is the same way they have like a setup, right, where it's like the catering, the tattoo removal, solar panel, farmers market, all that. But with me, my future like vision is having a place where you walk in, but we don't only have healing components, because you have to heal even if you're going to tell your story and write it, but have a studio, have a room that shows you lighting and camera, another one that shows you sound, another one that how to write, how to break down a script, how to, you know, so it's more like a production box, you know, like here you go, like we here, and just having a drop-in center where you could feel free to have acting classes, have, you know, editing, being taught to you how to break down a script, how to do all that stuff. And like, that's where I want to go with it, but still for sure with the guys that I already work with, like continuing the path of getting them more out there and getting them more roles. And for me personally, my vision is, I'm gonna write and I'm gonna direct. I don't like to say I'm a wannabe, like I want this, I want that, because then it just becomes a dream. But I'm gonna do it. You know, I've already.
That's right, girl. Speak it into existence. That's right.
So, just becoming the voice of what a lot of people don't talk about. That I want to tell the stories that come like with the heartfelt of being a teen mom. Like I was a teen mother, growing up in a world with nothing male predominantly, right? Being the only like sister for a long time in the picture, you know, being a product of the whole discrimination of being half Saudi, half Mexican, like having to deal with growing up in like division of like what brown and blacks expect from one another. Also writing even like a story based on my own personal experiences of being like abused, you know, not only physically, mentally, but like sexually, you know, like within people that I found close to, because we don't talk about that. We don't give our girls voice, and it sucks, you know. Like writing stories of what it was to be in constant patterns of like toxic relationships, because prior to the one I have now, like now I'm married to someone and he's like healthy and it's family oriented and stuff like that, and he has his own background. But prior to that, why did I always seek love or validation from like drug addicts, from people that put me down, from people that were broken themselves? And not that I hate them, because I mean I have compassion now, I have understanding for them.
I was gonna say that.
But why did I put myself in that situation?
Same,
you know,
sis.
so like becoming like girls and guys that become caregivers, like the stories behind that, you know, because it's just like, why do we allow so many things, and then we don't talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
See, and that's the problem today. A lot of people are not understanding of this. And I like that you're doing that because you're giving people opportunity to come in and understand what you're saying, where you came from, the people that you're associated with, so they can understand who they are too. And at the end of the day, we're humans. Right. Like we all have our past, our present, and are slowly walking into our future. But what people need to understand is that we all have a story. We have a background of where we came from. Abby has her story. Her story is very inspiring. I have my story, you know, how this podcast came to be, and you just shared your story with us. And, you know, moving forward, we both would love to support what you're doing.
Girl, anything we can do to
Yes.
help you, we'll definitely promote it. Anything you got going on. You know, I'm a writer too. If you need me, I'll help you, girl. Tackle that on because I know writing.
Yeah.
Writing needs a lot of proofreading. I already know.
Yes.
I'm into
But-
photography, so I was in the acting world back then. Abby mentioned that she did a school play back in high school. I did
Back
too.
in high school.
But I mean, we understand, you know, what it needs to be in
to
the
get
act.
into character and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
I never necessarily wanted to be in, which is crazy because I was just telling my best friend this yesterday. Was it yesterday?
Oh, and speaking of best friend, hi Jen. Show the finger, show the finger, show the finger, show the finger.
Yeah, I was telling her, it's crazy because ever since I was a little girl, so my parents actually used to work at the farmers market in on Fairfax, the Fairfax district.
Okay.
And
the one on Third, right?
Third, yeah,
Yes.
Third and Fairfax, and so the CBS studios are right next to it, right? And they would always go, and they would ask my dad, like, "Hey, do you have any children? Like, we're always looking to put them on commercials." And I was so shy, like you don't even understand. I used to hide behind my mom and dad, like I did not want people looking at me. Like I was so shy. I would get so red. So now that we're on this, I'm like, how?
You're good.
I'm
You're
on the mic now.
You're good.
Like I don't even know.
Your fears.
Yeah, and you know what? College broke me. College was really what did it because, you know, with sociology especially, you have to do group assignments, public speaking, PowerPoint presentations in front of like 40, 50 students, you know, and I took speech class. So like all of that really opened that door to break me out of my shell. You know what I mean? But I was telling my best friend, I was like, dude, that's crazy. Because if I would have done that when I was little and I wasn't so shy, it would have broke me a lot sooner. And now I'm like, damn, I had to wait 20 years in order to do this, like being on a podcast.
Better late than never, as I always say.
No, for
Perfect
sure.
timing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Berenice, there's one more question that I wanted to ask you. But before I do, Abby, is there anything would you like to ask her?
I just wanted to say thank you because the fact that you started doing this in the halls and doing, you know, you said gang intervention, right? So doing this, even before you started putting people on, like, I just want to say from a person that comes from the streets, like, thank you. Because when you've been incarcerated, you understand what the pain is like. And we like I said earlier off the mic, like, we all need that mentorship. You know, like my brother right now is doing time in prison. So, and we just brought on an activist. You know, she's in Calipatria State Prison doing activist work. And she's been literally my brother's mentor, and he's been a facilitator for her program. And I've seen the drastic change. So when you were saying like hurt people and broken people, you know, seek broken people, it's very true. And, you know, I do believe exactly what you said, that we need to heal ourselves even before we come to the streets.
Right.
You know, and so the fact that you were doing this since a long time ago, like not just recently within the past couple years, how you've been with your business, but this has been your purpose that you've been walking in since way back when. And I just want to genuinely say you have been saving lives, whether you know it or not.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But that's literally what I see.
Thank you. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
I think about it as like paying it forward because someone
good. We
did
like
that
that.
for me. You know,
love that.
someone saw
Exactly.
something in me that I didn't see in myself. So I think that a lot of youth need to know that, you know, people will believe in you until you learn to believe in yourself. People will love you
Yes.
until you learn to love yourself, you know, and of course you just have to put your effort and believe it, you know.
Yeah. And speaking of rewarding, I wanted to ask, out of any of the actors that you've worked with, have they won any major awards?
Not well. I mean, I don't like to classify like major,
Well,
minor,
major, like
but
any type of awards.
Yeah. So because I think that where we come from, anything we win is major, you know,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
since we're used
Yes.
to losing all the time.
Yeah.
But,
small recognition is a big recognition
yeah.
to us.
Yes, it is.
One of my guys, David McGill, he came out in a short film called Reflections, and that film won like one of the best short films out of the country. So
Oh,
it
nice.
was internationally looked at. And then right now there's another film that we've been putting on a platform called The Sun Rises with our
Yes.
friend.
Yes,
Alex.
we're actually trying to get Alex on here.
Yeah.
I'll call Alex.
Yeah.
Alex,
Well, he shared the video with us, and we
he
started texting
DM'd
about it.
He DM'd us talking about like how he is working on the project and needs sponsors, basically. And so I saw it, and I was like, I saw the clip, and I was like, yo, like, we need to have you on the
Yeah,
show,
we
bro.
need
We
to
gotta
go-
promote this so
We
you
gotta
guys can gain
promote it,
capital.
and we gotta
Yeah,
talk about
no.
what is he trying to do, because he kind of told us like
So is
Like,
this
yeah, like a
is
prologue
this
of it.
So that's-
your film also, or
No,
what is your
what
role?
I did there is I did location consulting, and then I shared my story where my interview of like the police harassment and just like how that has affected the Latino community, and it doesn't get spoken about much.
it doesn't.
And then so just being a supporting friend, colleague to him and what he believes in, and just supporting his vision, because I don't think everybody
strong
is out
vision.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very strong
So
vision.
I mean, there's like people who will have an opinion about it and all that, but I think like when you have a team like we do that has his back to the fullest, like I always tell him, like, yeah, like I've seen him and heard him talk about it for like 2 years now, and now that he brought it up on its feet and like it's doing it, like, I always express to him like, damn, like I'm proud of you, like, just do it. And and like not only like shout out to Alex, who's been like a great supporter with our team, and he's done like our behind the scenes photography too, and like he's always rooting for us, and he's part of like the family that we've created, but also like my brothers at Four Ways Entertainment, they did Slippy Into Darkness, who also won for that film, and now they're on all HBO platforms, and
Wow,
their
that's
short
big.
films on
That
there.
is big.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're talented guys, came from similar backgrounds. It's David, Alex, John, and like Oliver, and these guys, man, they've also been very supportive. I know they have things in the works that they want to bring up on their feet as well, and they're always involving us, and we're always supporting one another. And it's just great to see not only more raza supporting raza like in the industry,
Yes.
but
for sure.
it's like I respect them to the fullest, that they're always respecting even like a woman in the industry, like
That
and
part,
having
girl.
And it's big that, it's
That
big that they
part.
do.
and and shout out to them, and Manny Jimenez, who back in the day had Suspect Entertainment, and now he's a writer and he's a director, and he works close with Esteban Oriol and other people, and he's always like a call or text away when I have a question, and he's been like talking me through of like how to transition from like background to like management, and he always tells me like it's always been an honor like to hear him say like, man, I'm telling you, you're a director, man, like you're a writer, like, and I'm just like this is from someone who's like admired by many, so
They're
I'm
endorsing
just
you.
like,
They're endorsing you to take the next step.
Doesn't that
Oh,
feel
yeah.
good
It
though?
feels
Like
It must feel
bomb.
great.
like yeah, like
because it's a whole different crowd. Like, I mean, I was respected and everything from the homies in the hood. Like, yeah, man, she puts in work and she's like this, whatever. But like now, in a whole different perspective, it's like, damn, like you know that you're more than that. You're
Yeah.
more than just
And then-
destruction.
And then they see you like they're gonna all look at you and be like, "Oh no, this person knows what she's doing. You're talking to the right person." You're getting all
You're-
sorts of endorsements in
and
this
you're
situation.
a valuable asset to so many. You know what I mean? Not
Resource.
saying like your property, but yeah,
Yeah.
just like a resource that people can come to because you have so many connections. You've built your company to be to this level, to where you're getting recognized now through other people that are in the media, you know? So that's an amazing feeling. Like
says
that,
a lot, and it says, like I said earlier, it says a lot about your character, and it shows the work that you've done. Your resume must be stacked.
Yeah, which is also
from everything I've done, like prior to the industry. But you know, it's like I think I've just taken my life experiences and made them what it is, you know. And like people ask me when I used to do motivational speaking and case management for like sex trafficked youth, predominantly the females.
Wow.
They were like, hey, miss, like, if you were to change something, would you? And I'm like, as ironic and crazy as it is, like, nah, because it's made me like who I am, you know? And
that's exactly what I always say.
Built me. And if I were to have to choose this life again, I think crazy as it is, I would, you know?
Let me ask you a question. We don't get a lot of gang movies nowadays. Back then in the 90s, we had Blood In, Blood Out. We had Stand and Deliver, which are arguably two like some of the greatest gang movies out there. Do you think we need to have more of those movies now?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No. And the reason
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, I have a feeling too.
Well, I think one, it depends on who's writing it, because if we keep having the same people write certain things and they get it all wrong, we just made another gang movie with no message, no nothing.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to have a Safe of Passage movie where it shows the underneath like problem and like what people really go through in the families and even the gang member himself, you know, the pain, the dilemma, the conflict that goes on and whatever, then maybe we do. But the reality is that back then to now, back then we had real gang members. Yeah. Today we have these youngsters that don't know a damn thing of what it is. And then, you know, back then you were able to point out like, you know, you know, maybe because of the shaved head or the baggy pants or the tats. But now like a lot of people are tatted. Like you might have one of the ruthless motherfuckers out there wearing skinny jeans and a skateboard. I don't know, you know what I'm saying?
That's very true. That's
true.
Like, I think that we can't have the same cookie cutter movie that we did back in the 90s now, because the problems that we face today, I think now are not more gang related. I think it's more a drug problem, you know? And I think that's why a lot of
the disrespect.
I mean,
there's not a code of conduct no more.
Like I grew up with my brothers being like 10, 12, and 15 years older than me. Those are my older brothers, you know? And so I know code from like the 70s, 80s, you know? And so it was like, you don't disrespect while there's like a woman, children, whatever, you know, you watch your tone. You don't talk like business or hood things in front of certain people. There's a place and time for everything. And like, and there was honor and there was pride and there was loyalty, you know, and more than anything, respect. Now, I mean, then again, the social public figures, you know, like people talking and going and, you know, being like glorifying like the snitching and glorifying the this and that.
Girl,
like, it's just like, what? Like there's, to me, again, it goes back to the original conversation. It's an offense to people that have lost their lives to this gang culture that back in the day, because now you have people died for this mockery. Then they, okay, I'm gonna go do this little bull crap that I think is work, and then I'm gonna go snitch on somebody, and then I'm gonna come out and live my best life, you know? And it's like there's no loyalty, there's no respect. Then you have guys gangbanging and hitting up other guys while they're with their mama and their kids, and then you're like, what?
Or shooting, like,
you know?
It's really disrespectful.
Like, I mean, another gang movie like that, I don't think would serve our youth in the aspect of like you're teaching them something, because they don't even know what the hell is really what that's about. They would have to really get into the aspect of knowing the history of gang culture and why a lot of people got into gangs and stuff like that, because back then it was more for protection, more of looking out for one another, you know? It wasn't like about territory or sex or drugs. It was like really having a unity, right? And a lot of it stemmed from immigrants, because they were being targeted and they were being harassed, especially in the Westlake area, like things like that. This is how people created like hoods, but
survival mode.
I think it's like, if you're gonna create something, a film, it better educate some shit, because if it's just like showing how it is in prison, it's like another way of like, okay, we've seen that. Like, we could just put the tape in of like a back in the day movie and say that nothing's changed, except like everybody mixing and being, ratting and talking about everybody.
There has to be a purpose. There has to be a purpose behind the film.
Yeah,
I agree. Same here with Abby.
Before I forget to ask you this, just because I'm a music fanatic, so we're gonna go to that. Okay. I want to know what kind of music videos you've been involved in. Like, what kind of artists?
Up and coming artists predominantly, but like established artists, I'm gonna say we've casted for like Burner El Chivo, right? We've casted for Blueface, we've casted for Tercer Elemento, and up and coming, like, shout out to like a lot of the hardworking guys that are up and coming, which like Dinero 100K. Lyrics.
All right.
I did see you were working with him. You guys were in Lancaster State Prison, no?
Yeah, so for that, it was a pilot. And
I saw Duno was there too.
Yeah, so
we interviewed him.
And so all these guys, like, I mean, to me, they're like brothers, they're funny as hell. And, they just, But, Dinero, Lyrics, and the, tunes, just like a lot of guys just up and coming, and they're just send the artists. Like, these are all guys part of the team. These are guys that respect what we do. They're like literally a call or a text away when they need to share something with me. And you guys need to like check them out, because I think Definitely. A lot of them
for sure
have things that they want to talk about that are different than what we're used to and stuff. And little weirdos been like he's came around, and like just different. Dior, he's a Dominicano homie that does like the reggaeton like thing, and not a lot of Dominicanos like do reggaeton, because that's more like on the Puerto Rican side and stuff. But man,
we're seeing more of that. We're seeing more Dominicans.
It's growing to different parts of the world.
Yeah. So it's most up and coming, and I think I like to always say like work with the underdog, because I like to see them. Like
that's literally my motto. That's literally the motto. Underdog proven wrong.
Oh yeah. See, and like.
Hold on. Where's that button? I had to. I'm sorry.
Oh, there you go.
I had to.
So that's the type. But like, I also like to deal more with the music that that means something. Like, there's
relatable.
Like there was some contradictions with some of the like videos and stuff that we've casted. But I mean, that comes from like doing a job. I do casting.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
But as far as supporting, full blown support, is like, the homies that found a voice, that want to do music, and that are not.
Girl, yes.
You gotta be all worked up.
So literally, because the artists that we've had on here are also upcoming artists, and producers, and ironically, it's just been like left and right artists, but. One thing that I always tell him is like, I want to put somebody on that I truly support. Like, I really want to fuck with their music. Like, I don't want just anybody and, just give him like clout. You know what I mean? It's because I really support your movement. I really like your lyrics. I'm a writer, so I'm a huge lyricist. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to relate to your music and fuck with it. I want to be able to play that shit in my car and just like go on a road trip and I'll listen to the whole album. You know what I mean? Or singles you got. Yeah. Like, that's the type of person that I am. If I really fuck with somebody, it's because I fuck with them 100, And so that's one of the reasons why we want to put people that are up and coming, not only because we're up and coming, because we understand the struggle, but I feel like we got to give them the platform to showcase their work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not a lot of people want to do that because you have other people that are like, nah, until you're famous, we'll interview you.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, which is fucked up because they need it now more than ever when they're
Right.
not
Yeah,
super famous.
We don't need
You know?
we don't need to bring famous people into the podcast. Hell, we're not even famous. But at the end of the day, it's like you said, if you have something to offer and you're willing to put in the work, then we're right here to help you out.
Yeah.
We
like-
just need to hear the stories. I mean, right? Like music, poetry, filmmaking, these are stories. We're storytellers.
Storytellers, yeah.
You know, and I think it's essential just to hear everyone's story to be able to relate.
Their
to,
autobiography.
Yes, they are. And with that being said, folks, we are unfortunately out of time.
Wait, one last question.
Ask away.
Okay, since we're going to end the show, this is the perfect timing. How would people get in contact with you if they want to be a part of your team? If they're also like, say they're coming out of prison or they're from the streets and they're like, yo, I've always wanted to act my whole life. I want to get involved. Like, how do I do this?
So you could follow our page, From the Streets to the Set. And you could
On
send
Instagram.
it on
On
Instagram,
Instagram.
yes, and on Facebook. It's the
Okay.
same name.
Cool.
And then email ura8.casting@gmail.com. Because obviously we stated the obvious. I'm pregnant. I only have a couple weeks left. I do have someone that's going to be looking over my emails predominantly.
Okay.
So if the response not quick or anything, just be patient.
Can we ask the person
Also-
who the person is? So that way.
Oh, a shout out to Jennifer. She's like one of my actresses, models, been by my side since the beginning. And now I'm teaching her like the business administration part of it so she could
She's
take.
growing her wings.
Yeah. And she's cool as hell. But yeah, so she'll be behind that. I'll try to keep up with the social media and stuff. But I do want to say very clearly, and I've said it before, I will bypass, and I've trained Jennifer to bypass any email or DM that hits me up like super like dumb in a sense where you're
Say
like,
it to the camera. Say it to the camera. 'cause
yeah,
I
like
think
do
people
not
need to.
hit
Yeah.
me up.
Yeah, say it to the
Do
camera.
not hit us up if your first initial thing is like, hey, what up? Like, put me on. Like, oh, what's
Girl.
up? Like, no.
Oh,
Yes.
Thank you.
You
I
would
feel
not
you.
walk into. I'll say this:
It's
even
not
if you're
professional.
coming out, even if you're coming from prison, I'm sure you don't talk to like the COs and stuff like that. You
If
know,
anything, they're more
Yeah,
respectful.
you're like, oh, yes, ma'am, or
excuse me,
whatever.
yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna inquire, oh, and then let's make this even more crystal clear. It's not a bro, it's not a homie, and it's not a man running the page. It's me. So
Moral story is your ass better come professional
Yes.
as fuck.
Yes.
yeah, because I'll just bypass it. Like I'll
Okay.
delete, I'll block, what like I mean I don't even need the following. Like how about
Yeah.
that? You know?
Y'all
Because-
heard?
Girl, I feel
Yeah,
you. I
I
told you I
just-
manage my homies' emails, and it's always like, hey, I want to get in. I want to get tatted. Like, when can I book? And it's like, bro, like, hello, how are you?
Yeah.
Like,
Good morning
you
to
know,
you too.
like, I'm
Good
looking to
afternoon.
get tattooed. I'm looking for this day. This is what I want to get done. Like, those
Right.
are the kind of stuff you look for in an email. Not like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? I want to get in. Plug me in. Like, no.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
respectful, come humble, because if you come in like that, goodbye.
Yeah,
And
no,
if you
there's a
come
lot
in
of
like-
people that
Yeah.
waiting for an
Yes.
opportunity, and I mean that's just the approach, because if you want to gain respect, especially being in the raza community, and like you want to establish yourself as a business, as a respected person, as a professional
brand.
overall, period.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna demand that, like, you're gonna come to me like you would any CEO
Yeah.
of like a corporation, any
Yeah.
like Wall Street person, any whatever, like any people you think of our position higher of, like I don't even know what that means, like, but you like we're all equally in the way that you're gonna come with some respect, you know,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
if
You're a
not,
business.
That's important. It's
And I'm
important
cool.
to come with
Yeah.
respect,
Yeah.
because you show up like that, you don't want to work with them.
Right.
I,
And I-
I
and
certainly
I-
wouldn't either.
And I love it though, because you are putting your foot down. You're letting people know, like, yo, I'm a boss at the end of the day. Like, I'm a
Boss lady.
I'm a boss ass bitch. You know what I mean?
Respect, respect.
You're a boss for sure, girl. I love it, because you're welcome, because a lot of people underestimate us as women. and they underestimate us as women from the streets.
Right.
So those are already two things that we have to like jump against, you know, against these odds, basically. Yeah. So I truly admire that you are really saying like, you either come to me straight up, like with respect, or don't come at me at all.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put you on.
I mean, I won't waste your time. Don't waste mine. I won't even like reply or
keep it mutual.
Yeah, no. And I mean, and I would even respect big time if you say, hey, I've never done this before. I don't know what to ask. I don't, but I'm interested. Like, and cool. Like, you know,
that right there is like, that's the
cool.
promise.
Like,
that's
what
help.
I
Yeah.
You need the guidance.
But we're not like, we're not homies. We're not like, I mean, there's even an approach that I come, even with my own husband and my son. Like, when I put them on set, I tell them on set, I ain't your mom and I ain't your wife. Like, I'm the consultant, I'm your manager, and like you're gonna do what everybody is told to do, you know. Yes. And they're like, all right, you know, and
because you can't have favoritism.
Yeah, there's no such thing in that world, you know. And trust me, I mean, I have a lot of brothers, I have a lot of cousins and everything, and not a lot of them are on set with me. Why? Because the ones I give a chance and you came late, or oh, it's my sister, oh, it's my prima, like no, and not at that moment. So you came late, go home. You know, and they're like,
I mean, unfortunately, if they blow it at the end of the day, they're accountable for that.
Yeah,
but
and
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, a lot of the times, you know, back to what you were saying, like about the crab effect, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of the times, we want to put people on. You want to bring everybody with you, and you just can't.
Yeah.
I think we all come to that realization as business owners or as people in the industry, like, not everybody is in there for your best interest. They're in there for their interests, right. You know, and sometimes they abuse that relationship or that, I don't want to say power over you, but like that relationship they have, and they try to manipulate it, and they want you for your connections now and for what you got going and your spotlight, you know, because you're a very genuine person. I can tell, like, as soon as I met you and when we were DMing, like, I can see you have a big heart, and clearly by the works that you've done. And so I can only imagine the types of people that you have to deal with in that aspect, because I deal with it too, on a smaller scale. You know what I mean? But it's just, you know, when you have a genuine heart and a pure heart, people will try to step over you. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's allow that.
Yeah, and that's the fucked up part. That's what I'm saying. I admire you, the fact that you're saying, like, come at me straight, respect me, because at the end of the day, this is my brand, my business. This is who I am and what I got to represent, and my name is on the line. I will vouch for you, but don't disrespect me.
Right.
It's all about respect.
Know?
It's all about respect at the end of the day. But ladies, we have to end the show. We're unfortunately out of time.
Yes, we had so much fun with you.
This was fun.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for coming. Shoot out your information one more time for Instagram, please.
So Instagram, From the Streets to the Set. Facebook, From the Streets to the Set.
Make sure you guys follow on Instagram. Tap in for any information. A lot of good stuff coming. And like I said,
watch all her shows.
Yes. Watch all the shows. Make sure if you guys heard any names on here, keep an eye on them on the shows that she listed. We're going to support you as much as we can. Yes. Again, congratulations on the pregnancy.
Congrats on everything, girl. Everything. Yes. We're so happy. I'm so happy to see Latinas making it.
We're just happy for, like you said, Latinas. And, you know, the fact that you made a huge transition from your other job to this, you know, it's a really big step, and you're doing one hell of a job.
Just your lifestyle change.
Congratulations on everything again.
Yeah, congrats.
Folks, thank you guys for watching Living in the 323. I am your boy MG on the mic.
Yes, it's your girl Princess Abby.
And we are Living in the 323. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yes,
Peace.
God bless you guys. Bye.